We've all heard how hard it is to get into the housing market, to buy a house for the first time, to get a mortgage.
Hey Canadians, if you guys think that your life struggles are huge, then let us tell you that the Trudeau government has no concerns for you at all. Despite many of you living paycheck to paycheck, the Liberal Party of Canada has no empathy for your housing crisis. It is hurting to note that the housing crisis in Canada is just off the charts. A place where half the country is enduring punishing debt and weathering a homelessness crisis, while working families increasingly depend on food banks to get by, the Liberal Party of Canada has a disconnect from the given situation. Some Trudeau Liberals are of the opinion that the party's most significant problem is that people don't comprehend how awesome a job they're truly doing. They are simply relying on their laurels and encouraging solutions to come. They are surely working on something, but that doesn't comfort the woes that come while paying the rent and stocking the kitchen cupboard right now for people living in Canada. After 8 years of the Liberal Party in authority, Canadians are obviously asking the power, are they getting a fair share? Strange, but that's the reality. One can note how, in early September 2023, welcoming news broke for Canadians as the Bank of Canada announced to hold interest rates steadily. However, Governor Tiff Macklem hinted at how the bank may raise the interest rates again if in the near future the inflationary pressures persist. Some days later, the monthly jobs report from Statistics Canada discovered that after 3 months of growing unemployment, the rate maintained at 5.5% as 40,000 job opportunities were added in Canada. During the same time when the Conservative Party of Canada, CPC, met in Quebec with its fortunes and polling numbers on the increase, Liberal backbench members of Parliament shared with the media about how sick they are with their government and Trudeau. In a recent report in the Toronto Star, Althea Raj shares a list of MP grievances that include being dismissed, the party being too woke, going too smooth on CPC leader Pierre Poilievre, and a few claims that the government has entirely failed to convey just how great it is. But what really matters to the people has been simply ignored. An affordable housing crisis seems to be harming the reputation of the Government of Canada, and it seems like it will just take several years to resolve. Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland recently stated that even if construction hits an 80-year high, there are no smooth roads ahead. Her comments come at a time when the challenge is being neglected by the Liberal Party, just like anything. However, as a senior member of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's Liberal administration, she has understood the grave problem that the citizens of the country are probably into. Polls reveal the Liberals following their Conservative opponents, who accuse Ottawa of high inflation and skyrocketing home prices. Housing is unquestionably the obligation of the 10 provinces as well as central municipalities, with Ottawa's role restricted to policy advice and financial incentives. It will take all of us, the federal government and the provinces, cities and towns, the private sector and nonprofits, working together in common cause, not for weeks or months, but for years, Freeland said. Building the homes a growing Canada needs will require another great national effort. She told a Montreal conference, saying that Canada would have to develop homes at a speed and scale that has not been witnessed since the 1940s and 1950s. In order to increase supply, the Canadian government has promised to terminate the federal 5% consumption tax on the construction of new rental apartment buildings and recommends cities to do more to solve the issue. Raj quotes Surrey Centre MP Randeep Sarai, who is choosing forward with the Liberal government, and informed that communication is a major challenge and that the government has attempted to reduce millions of tons of carbon, but they haven't been able to communicate that. However, critics have argued that the problem is not about sufficient communication, as the Liberal government is all communication. It doesn't suffer from a lack of comms, but a plethora of them who are only busy convincing people that they have attained things instead of accomplishing the real things. The reality is somewhat different from the claims of the Liberal Party of Canada. The Liberals have lacked in the successful implementation of policy areas, mainly housing. The Canada Child Benefit helped remove families from poverty. It is definitely taking credit for the nascent child care, pharmacare, and dental care plans, which also has partial gratitude to the New Democratic Party. However, they are enough, as who knows when they will be fully up and running. The Liberals also did a world-class job at procuring COVID-19 vaccines, which saved lives, and it is really no small matter. It is a fact that people living in Canada are suffering and struggling due to the homelessness crisis. So what really can the government do except make fake promises or marketing gimmicks? One of the unfortunate things about this housing crisis is that if the Liberals cannot understand the importance of delivering key files related to housing and consumer affordability, then undoubtedly they will face opposition. Angry people living in Canada will just turn to Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party for possible solutions. The latest poll conducted states that Tories are up by 14 points on the Liberals. Of course, this is not a complete indication of the absolute truth, as we cannot rely on a single poll blindly. Considering there is a lot of time between now and the upcoming federal election, the trend is clear, which shows that the blue side is up and the red side is down. So if you are betting on blue versus red, then you will win your money if you are betting on blue. What people living in Canada will really get in the midst of the homelessness crisis? The Conservatives and Poilievre's anti-woke libertarian crusade risks retrenchment and state abandonment of the people at the worst possible time. History has revealed that voters will cut their noses to spite their faces, and it's challenging to blame them when hopeless, they notice no alternative, and when the left seems to be overlooking inaction. But none of that puts us in a better off position. Herein lies a prospect for the left. This point shows a chance to go all in on class politics, to speak to deep material grievances across the nation of Canada, and to deliver structural solutions that will move the balance of economic power, moving resources along with it. However, that program should clearly solve the pain points and not make suffer day by day. It has to be supported by reliable ideas that will remake the country of Canada. The ideas, of course, should be communicated well as the Liberal Party recommends, but the ideas should matter as well. The left can work on the ideas that solve the housing crisis and give people hope of living decently. One cannot forgive and forget the Government of Canada's move to limit foreign student visas as a possible solution to the rising cost of housing. In recent years, new Housing Minister Sean Fraser said that the sharp peak in the number of students was putting noticeable pressure on some housing markets. Official data reveal there were more than 800,000 foreign students with active visas in 2022, up from 275,000 in 2012. Canada is a famous destination for international students since it is fairly easy to obtain a work permit. Noting the limit on the number of foreign students, Fraser said, "I think that is one of the options that we ought to consider. The government has not yet made a decision," he added. "We've got temporary immigration programs that were never designed to see such explosive growth in such a short period of time." Fraser told reporters on the sidelines of a cabinet retreat in the Atlantic province of Prince Edward Island recently. Canada, which has a population of around 39.5 million people, intends to take in a record 500,000 new permanent residents in 2025. Fraser said determining the number of newcomers was surely not the answer. If you think Canada's housing crisis will not be solved anytime soon, then let us know in the comments section. If you liked watching the video, click on like and subscribe to our channel.